Show more, my mom has a tattoo just like yours. The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Every head in that Flagstaff diner turned toward the small girl sitting alone in the corner booth. The six Hells Angels, who just walked through the door, froze mid-step. The biggest one, leather vest covered in patches, arms thick as telephone poles, locked eyes on the kid. She couldn't have been more than 9 years old, pigtails and a sketchbook, looking up at him like she'd just commented on the weather. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button right now. You're going to want to see how this ends, trust me. And drop a comment telling me what city you are watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Now let's get back to it. Part 1. Briggs didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared at this little girl who had no business knowing anything about the ink on his forearm. The tattoo was covered by his jacket sleeve, had been since he walked in. There was no way she could have seen it. What did you just say? His voice came out low, dangerous. Leia looked up from her sketchbook, completely unbothered by the 6 enormous men looming over the diner like a storm cloud. My mom has a tattoo just like yours. I saw it when your jacket moved. The other bikers exchanged glances. Tank, the one with the scar running down his jaw, took a step closer. Kid, you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do. Leia turned her sketchbook around, showing them a drawing. It was rough, childish, but unmistakable, the same symbol that marked Briggs's forearm. See, she has it right here. She touched her own shoulder. It's small, though. She always covers it up. Briggs's jaw clenched. He pulled his jacket sleeve up, slowly revealing the tattoo in full. A skull with wings, a specific design that wasn't just some random biker art. This was the mark, the one they only gave to people who'd earned it, and they'd only given it out twice in the last 20 years. Where's your mother? Briggs asked, his voice tight. She's working. She works a lot. Leia went back to her drawing like this was all perfectly normal. She'll be here at 6 to pick me up. That's in 43 minutes. The waitress behind the counter, Betty, her name tag said, had gone pale. She knew what the Hells Angels were. Everyone in Flagstaff knew. They'd rolled through town before, usually just passing through, sometimes stopping for food or gas. But they never came in groups this size unless there was a reason, and they never stayed long. Ma'am, Betty's voice shook as she addressed them. Can I get you gentlemen some coffee? Briggs didn't answer. He slid into the booth across from Leia, his massive frame making the vinyl seat creak. The other bikers spread out through the diner, taking positions like they were securing a perimeter. The handful of other customers suddenly found reasons to leave bills slapped on tables, chairs, scraping. What's your name? Briggs asked. Leia Marie Henderson. She said it with the careful pronunciation of a kid who'd been taught to speak clearly. I'm 9. I'll be 10 in August. And your mom's name? Margaret Henderson, but everyone calls her Maggie. Leia looked up at him, finally showing a hint of concern. Are you mad at her? Did she do something wrong? Briggs leaned back, his leather creaking. Tell me about the tattoo. Describe it exactly. Leia bit her lip, thinking. It's about this big. She made a circle with her fingers, maybe 2 inches across. The skull has wings, but the left wing has a little smudge in it. Mom said the guy who did it sneezed or something. She always laughed about that. Tank whistled low. Boss, that's... I know what it is. Briggs cut him off. His eyes hadn't left Leia's face. Kid, when did your mom get that tattoo? I don't know. I asked her once and she said it was from before I was born. She said it was from when she used to be different. Different how? Leia shrugged. Just different. She doesn't talk about it much. We moved here from Vegas when I was really little. I don't remember it. Vegas. The word hit Briggs like a punch. He could see Tank stiffen, see Reaper's hand curl into a fist. They all remembered Vegas. They all remembered what happened there. Listen to me very carefully, Briggs said, leaning forward. I need you to call your mother right now. Tell her to come here immediately. Don't tell her why. Can you do that? She's working. She can't leave work early. She'll get in trouble. She won't get in trouble. I promise you. Briggs pulled out his phone, slid it across the table. Call her, now. Something in his tone made Leia's hands shake as she picked up the phone. She dialed from memory, her small fingers careful on the screen. It rang 4 times before a woman's voice answered, tired and distracted. Hello. Mom, it's me. Leia, baby, whose phone is this? Is something wrong? There are some men here at the diner. They want to talk to you. They said you need to come now. There was a pause on the other end. When Maggie spoke again, her voice had changed completely. What kind of men? Leia looked up at Briggs. What kind are you? Tell her, Briggs said slowly, that old friends from Vegas want to have a conversation. Leia repeated it. The phone clattered like it had been dropped. Then Maggie's voice came back high and tight. Leia, baby, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Go to the bathroom, lock the door. Don't come out until I get there. Do you understand? Mom, they're not. Now, Leia, Briggs took the phone from her. She's safe, you have my word, but you need to get here. We'll be waiting. He hung up before Maggie could respond. Go on, he said to Leia, gentler now. Go to the bathroom like your mom said. We'll wait here. Leia gathered her sketchbook, clutching it to her chest. She slid out of the booth, but paused. You're not going to hurt her, are you? No. Briggs met her eyes. Your mom and I, we have history, that's all. Now go. She went her footsteps quick across the worn linoleum. The bathroom door shut with a click, followed by the sound of the lock sliding home. The moment she was gone, Tank exploded. Briggs, if this is who I think it is. How is that possible? We looked at for her for 3 years. 3 years. Apparently not hard enough. Briggs stood pacing to the window. His bike was parked right outside Chrome, gleaming in the late afternoon sun. She changed her name, had a kid, went suburban. Reaper, the quiet one who rarely spoke, finally did. The kid doesn't know. No, she doesn't know. Briggs turned back to his crew. And that's how it's going to stay. Whatever happens here today, the kid stays out of it. What is going to happen? Snake asked. He was the youngest of them, only been patched in for 2 years. I mean, after what she did. We don't know what she did. Briggs's voice went hard. We know what we were told. We know what it looked like. But we never got her side. Because she ran. Because she ran, Briggs agreed. And now we're going to find out why. Betty approached cautiously, coffee pot in hand like a peace offering. Should I call the police? No need. Briggs gave her a smile that didn't reach his eyes. We're just having a reunion. Old friends catching up. Nothing for anyone to worry about. But the little girl is perfectly safe. I give you my word on that. Betty didn't look convinced, but she nodded and retreated behind the counter. Her hand hovered near the phone anyway. Briggs noticed but didn't comment. If she called the cops, fine. Let them come. This would all be over before they arrived anyway. The minutes ticked by. 5 is 10. Briggs could feel the tension building in his shoulders and his jaw. He hadn't seen Maggie Henderson, if that was even her real name, in almost a decade. The last time had been in that warehouse in Vegas, blood on the concrete, Hawk dying in his arms. And her standing there with the gun, with that look on her face that he'd never been able to figure out. Was it guilt? Fear? Regret? He'd find out soon enough. At minute 13, a car screeched into the parking lot. Not a nice car, an old Honda with a dented bumper and rust around the wheel wells. The door flew open and a woman burst out, already running. She hit the diner door at full speed, nearly ripping it off its hinges. Briggs would have known her anywhere. Older, yes. Tired looking, hair pulled back in a practical ponytail instead of the wild curls he remembered. Dressed in scrubs with a name tag that said Maggie CNA. But it was her. Same eyes, same scar on her chin from where she'd taken a bottle to the face-defending Hawk at that bar. Those eyes found Briggs immediately. Went wide, then narrowed. Where's my daughter? Bathroom. Safe, like I said. Maggie moved like lightning, crossing the diner in 3 strides. She pounded on the bathroom door. Leia, open up. Mom. It's me, baby. Open the door. The lock clicked. Glunal. Leia appeared face confused and scared now. Maggie grabbed her, pulled her close, checked her over with quick, practiced hands. Did they touch you? Did anyone hurt you? No, Mom. They were actually kind of nice. Go outside, get in the car, lock the doors. But Mom, I want your milk. Now, Leia fled the diner door, banging behind her. Through the window, Briggs watched her scramble into the Honda, saw the locks click down. Maggie turned back to face them. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. Whatever you came here for, she has nothing to do with it. She doesn't know anything. Leave her out of this. We know. Briggs gestured to the booth. Sit down. I'd rather stand. It wasn't a request. They stared at each other across the diner. The other bikers had formed a loose semicircle cutting off the exits. Not threatening exactly, just present, making it clear that this conversation was going to happen whether Maggie wanted it to or not. Finally, she sat. Briggs slid into the booth across from her, same place he'd sat with Leia minutes before. Long time, he said. Not long enough. You're hard to find, Maggie. Or is it Margaret now? Margaret Henderson, certified nursing assistant, resident of Flagstaff, Arizona. Mother of one. Works at Flagstaff Medical Center night shifts mostly. Rents a 2-bedroom apartment on the west side. Drives a 2007 Honda Civic with 190,000 miles on it. Maggie's face had gone white. You've been watching me. We just found you yesterday. Briggs leaned back. Pure luck, really. Snake here has a cousin who works at the hospital. Saw your face in the break room, thought you looked familiar. Sent me a picture, and there you were, the ghost of Vegas herself. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't. The word cracked like a whip. Don't insult me by lying. Not after everything. Maggie's jaw worked. She glanced toward the window, checking on Leia. The little girl was visible in the car, face pressed against the glass, watching. What do you want? Maggie asked quietly. The truth. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me. She laughed, bitter and sharp. Now you want to hear it 9 years later. Where was this curiosity when you all decided I was guilty without a trial? You ran, Tank interjected. Guilty people run. Smart people run, Maggie shot back. When 6 Hell's Angels show up at your apartment at 3 in the morning with the blood in their eyes, you don't stick around to debate your innocence. We wanted answers, Briggs said. You wanted revenge. There's a difference. Briggs couldn't argue with that. He'd been younger then, angrier. Hawk had been his best friend since they were kids in Tucson, before the club, before any of and. Watching him bleed out in that warehouse had broken something in Briggs. And when the evidence pointed to Maggie, the gun in her hand, the money missing, her disappearance, it had been easy to fill that broken place with rage. Tell me what happened that night, Briggs said. And all of it, from the beginning. Maggie looked at him for a long moment, then she sighed and something in her seemed to deflate. You really don't know, do you? After all this time, you still don't know what actually went down. So tell us. She glanced at the other bikers, at Betty hovering anxiously by the coffee station, at her daughter in the car outside. Then she turned back to Briggs. Fine, you want the truth. Here it is. And she began to talk. That night started like any other job. Hawk called me around 10, said he needed backup for a pickup. Standard stuff, meeting a dealer at that warehouse by the rail yard, exchanging cash for product. I'd been running with you guys for about 6 months by then, doing odd jobs, making connections. Hawk trusted me. I thought you all did. We did, Briggs said quietly. Clearly not enough. Maggie's voice hardened. We got to the warehouse at midnight. The dealer was already there. A guy named Cisco worked for the Sinaloa cartel, but something felt wrong from the start. Cisco was nervous, kept looking at his phone. Hawk noticed it too. He told me to hang back, stay by the door. She paused, her fingers tracing patterns on the table. Then the doors bursted open. But it wasn't cops, it was the Guerreros. 8 of them, all armed. Cisco had set us up. They wanted the money and they wanted Hawk dead, some beef from years back before my time. I was hidden behind some crates. They didn't see me, but I saw everything. Tank shifted his weight. Hawk never mentioned the Guerreros because he didn't want to drag the club into it. It was his problem from his past. He thought he could handle it himself. Maggie's eyes were distant now, seeing something from long ago. They beat him. God, they beat him so badly. And then Cisco pulled out a gun, said he was sorry, but this was business. He aimed it at Hawk's head. She stopped, swallowed hard. I had a gun, she continued. Always carried one when I did runs with you guys. I fired without thinking, got Cisco in the shoulder. The Guerreros scattered. They thought it was cops. The gunshot spooked them. But Cisco's finger had already squeezed the trigger. His shot went wild because I hit him, but it still hit Hawk. In the chest, not the head. I probably saved his life with that first shot. Briggs felt something cold settling in his stomach. You shot Cisco. I shot Cisco, and then I ran to Hawk. He was bleeding so much. I tried to stop it, tried to keep pressure on the wound. But I could hear the Guerreros regrouping outside. They were coming back. So I grabbed Hawk's phone, called 911, told them where we were. Then I grabbed the money, all of it, because I knew if the Guerreros came back in and found it, Hawk wouldn't have any leverage. They'd just kill him and take it. The money, Reaper said slowly. We thought you stole it. I took it to protect it. I was going to bring it back. But then, she closed her eyes. Then I heard you guys, the bikes. You'd gotten word somehow came roaring in, but you didn't see me in the shadows. You saw Hawk on the ground bleeding. You saw me gone, and you saw the money gone. What else were you going to think? We thought you'd set him up, Briggs said. The words felt like ash in his mouth. We thought you'd taken the money and left him to die. I know what you thought. That's why I ran. By the time I realized what it looked like, by the time I wanted to explain, you'd already put the word out. Every chapter from Vegas to Phoenix was looking for me. I couldn't come back. I couldn't contact you. All I could do was disappear. The diner had gone completely silent. Even Betty had stopped pretending to work, just stood frozen behind the counter. Hawk, Briggs said carefully, pulled through, barely. He was in ICU for 3 weeks. I know. I checked. I couldn't leave Vegas for months, kept tabs on him through some old contacts. When I heard he was going to make it, she smiled slightly. I cried for about an hour straight. Then I got in my car and drove as far as I could. You should have come back, explained. To who you? Maggie's laugh was hollow. You were ready to kill me, Briggs. Don't pretend otherwise. I heard about what you did to Cisco after you found him. What you did to the Guerreros who were there that night. You were out for blood, mine included. Briggs couldn't deny it. He'd been consumed by rage, by grief. If he'd found Maggie in those first few weeks, where's the money? Tank asked. Maggie reached into her scrubs pocket, pulled out a piece of paper. She slid it across the table. Storage unit in Henderson, Nevada, unit 247, code is 84621. It's all there. Every dollar. I never touched it. I've been living on CNA wages for 9 years, working myself to the bone because I wouldn't touch money that wasn't mine. Briggs stared at the paper, then at her. Why didn't you use it, even just some of it? You've got a kid. I saw your apartment. You're barely scraping by. Because it wasn't mine, she said simply. And because I knew someday, somehow, the truth would come out. I needed to be able to prove I didn't take it. Snake, who'd been quiet this whole time, spoke up. Hawk's going to want to hear this. Hawk, Maggie said softly. How is he? Alive, riding. Still has the scar, still walks with a limp, but alive. Briggs studied her face. He looked for you, after he recovered. He didn't believe you'd betrayed him, but we couldn't find any trace. You'd vanished. I had to. I had a baby to protect. Leia. Briggs glanced toward the window. The little girl was still watching, eyes wide. Hawk's kid? No. Maggie followed his gaze. I met her father after I left Vegas. He's not in the picture anymore. Leia's mine, just mine. And I need to keep her safe. That's all that matters to me now. Briggs nodded slowly. He could feel the tension in the diner shifting, changing. The other bikers were looking at him, waiting for his call. This was his decision to make. The tattoo, he said finally. Show me. Maggie hesitated, then pulled down her collar, exposing her shoulder. There it was, the same design as his, same skull, same wings, and yes, same tiny imperfection in the left wing where the tattoo artist had messed up. Briggs had done that tattoo himself, in a motel room in Vegas after Maggie had saved 3 of their guys from getting jumped outside a bar. She'd been fierce that night, fearless. She'd earned the ink, earned her place with them, until they thought she'd thrown it all away. Why didn't you tell us? He asked quietly. At the beginning, why didn't you tell us you were taking the money to protect it? Because everything happened so fast. One minute I'm calling 911, the next I'm grabbing the cash, and then I hear bikes, and I think it's more Guerreros coming back. By the time I realized it was you guys, you were already with Hawk, and I was hidden, and I heard what you were saying. I heard you saying my name like a curse. I heard Tank say he was going to find me and make me pay. She looked at Tank. You meant it. I could hear it in your voice. Tank's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Yeah, I meant it. So I ran. What else could I do? No one had an answer for that. Briggs pushed himself up from the booth. He walked to the window, looked out at Leia in the car. She waved at him uncertainly. He waved back. We owe you, he said, not turning around. For Hawk, for that night, for 9 years of thinking the worst of you when you were just trying to survive. I don't want anything from you. That's not how this works, he turned back to face her. You saved Hawk's life. You protected our money. You've got the mark. That means something. That means everything. Maggie stood up slowly. I just want to take my daughter home. I want to keep living my quiet life. Can you give me that? Yes. Briggs pulled out his phone. But first you're going to talk to Hawk. He deserves to hear your voice. Briggs. He's been carrying this guilt for 9 years, Maggie, thinking he got you killed or worse because he didn't protect you that night. You owe him this much. Her hand shook as she took the phone. Briggs had already dialed. It rang twice. Yeah, Hawk's voice rough from years of cigarettes and desert wind. Hawk, Maggie said, her voice cracked on the name. It's me. Silence on the other end. Then, Maggie, is that really how, where? I'm in Flagstaff. I'm okay. I've been okay. And Hawk, that night, it wasn't what you thought. It was never what any of you thought. Briggs gestured to his crew. They filed out of the diner, giving Maggie privacy. Through the window, he watched her cry as she talked to Hawk, watched her explain, apologize, cry some more. Tank lit a cigarette. We screwed up, bad. Yeah. What now? Briggs looked at the bikes at the open road stretching away toward the horizon. Now we make it right. Inside the diner, Maggie's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Hawk, I shot Cisco. I saved you. And then I took the money to keep it safe, but by the time I wanted to explain, it was too late. You all wanted me dead. Maggie, Christ, we didn't know. We thought, I know what you thought. I lived with what you thought for 9 years. Through the phone, Hawk's breathing was ragged. Where have you been all this time? Surviving, raising my daughter, trying to forget. You have a daughter. She's 9. Her name's Leia. She's the one who saw Briggs's tattoo and opened her mouth before I could stop her. Hawk laughed, choked and wet. Smart kid. Too smart for her own good sometimes. Maggie wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Hawk, I never wanted to leave you there. I called 911. I made sure help was coming. I know now. The paramedics told me someone called it in female voice, but everyone said it was probably just a passerby, and I was so out of it. He stopped. Maggie, I looked for you for months. I told Briggs you wouldn't do that to us, but he was so angry, and there was the money, and... Stop, you don't have to explain, I get it. No, you don't. I should have fought harder, should have made them listen. You were shot in the chest, Hawk. You were lucky to be alive. Lucky because of you. Maggie pressed her palm against her eyes. I need to go. I need to get Leia home, feed her dinner, pretend this day never happened. Wait, Maggie, can I see you? Can I meet your daughter? She looked out the window at Leia still waiting in the car with her face pressed against the glass. I don't know if that's a good idea. Please, I need to see for myself that you're okay. Hawk, I've been carrying this for 9 years. Let me put it down. Maggie closed her eyes. I'll think about it. I need time. Okay, but Maggie, thank you for that night, for saving my life. I should have said it 9 years ago. She hung up before she started crying again. Her hands were shaking so badly she nearly dropped the phone. Outside, Briggs and the others were standing by their bikes waiting. She could see them through the window, these men who'd hunted her, who'd wanted her dead, who now knew the truth. She pushed open the diner door. The evening air hit her face cool and clean. Briggs turned, holding out his hand for his phone. She gave it back without a word. We're going to make this right, Briggs said. You can't make this right. 9 years, Briggs. 9 years of looking over my shoulder, changing my name, building a life out of nothing because I was too scared to use money that belonged to your club. The money's yours now. All of it. Maggie stared at him. What? You earned it. That night, you earned every dollar. Consider it payment for services rendered. I don't want your money. Then consider it child support from her uncles. Briggs gestured toward Leia in the car. That little girl deserves better than a rust bucket Honda and an apartment with broken heat. She deserves a mother who doesn't work herself to death just to keep the lights on. Don't you dare tell me what my daughter deserves. I'm not telling you anything. I'm offering you what's already yours. Tank stepped forward. Maggie, we screwed up. Let us try to fix it. You can't fix 9 years of my life. No, Reaper said quietly, but we can make the next 9 better. Maggie looked at each of them, these men in leather and patches, these men who'd terrified her all those years ago. Tank with his scar and his guilt written across his face. Reaper with his quiet intensity. Snake, the young one who barely knew her the story, but stood with them anyway. And Briggs, the leader, the one who'd marked her shoulder with ink and promise. I need to take my daughter home, she said finally. We'll follow you. Make sure you get there safe. That's not necessary. Yeah, it is. Briggs swung his leg over his bike. You've got the mark, Maggie. That means you're protected. That means we make sure nothing happens to you or yours. After 9 years of hunting me now, you want to protect me? After 9 years of being wrong, yeah. That's exactly what we want. Maggie walked to her car. Leia unlocked the door immediately, launching into questions before Maggie even had the door fully open. Mom, who are those men? Why were you crying? Are we in trouble? What's happening? Nothing's happening, baby. Those are just some old friends. Friends, but you were scared. I could tell you were scared. Maggie climbed into the driver's seat, started the engine. Sometimes old friends can be scary and safe at the same time. It's complicated. Did you really know them in Vegas? Yes. And you have a tattoo like theirs. Maggie's hand went to her shoulder automatically. Yes. Can I see it? Not now, let's just go home. She pulled out of the parking lot, and true to Briggs's word, the 6 motorcycles fell into formation behind her. 2 in front, 2 behind, 2 on the sides. An escort. Protection. The very thing she'd run from for 9 years. Leia twisted in her seat, watching them through the rear window. Mom, this is so cool. Are they really going to follow us all the way home? Apparently. Why? Because they owe me something. What do they owe you? Maggie gripped the steering wheel tighter. The truth. They drove through Flagstaff as the sun dipped lower, casting everything in orange and gold. People on the sidewalk stopped to stare at the procession, one beat-up Honda surrounded by Hell's Angels. Maggie kept her eyes on the road, tried to ignore the stares, the pointing, the phones coming out to record. Mom, everyone's looking at us. I know. Is this going to be on the internet? Probably. Cool. Not cool, Leia. Not cool at all. They reached the apartment complex on the west side, exactly where Briggs had said it was. Maggie had never told him her address, but he'd known anyway. The thought made her skin crawl and her heart pound at the same time. The bikes pulled into the parking lot, engines rumbling like thunder. Maggie parked in her assigned spot. The engines cut off one by one, leaving an echoing silence. She could see Mrs. Chen on the second-floor balcony staring. Could see the Ramirez kids stop their basketball game to gawk. This quiet life she'd built was about to get very loud. Stay in the car, she told Leia. But stay. She got out, walked over to where Briggs was removing his helmet. You can't be here. This is my home. My neighbors. We'll learn to mind their business. Briggs looked up at the building, assessing. 3rd floor corner unit. Windows face the parking lot. No back exit except the balcony. Fire escape on the north side. Stop it. Stop knowing things about where I live. Can't help it. It's what I do. He dismounted, gestured to the others. We're not leaving until we know you're secure. I've been secure for 9 years without you. And you shouldn't have had to be. You should have been with us, protected part of the family. Instead, you were out here alone, working night shifts at a hospital, scraping by eye. His jaw tightened. That ends now. Tank approached, holding out a piece of paper. My number. You need anything, and I mean anything, you call. Food, money, trouble, doesn't matter. You call. Maggie took the paper reflexively. I don't need... Yeah, you do. Reaper handed her another number. Mine too. I'm in Phoenix most days, but I can be here in 2 hours if you need me. One by one, they gave her their numbers. Contact information she never wanted from men she'd spent years avoiding. But something in their faces stopped her from refusing. Guilt, maybe. Regret. The weight of 9 years of being wrong. What am I supposed to do with all these? She asked, holding the collection of scribbled phone numbers. Stay alive, Briggs said simply. The Guerreros are still out there, Maggie. The ones who survived that night. They've probably forgotten about you by now. But if word gets out that you're back in contact with us, then they'll come for me. Then we'll be ready. Leia's door opened. She'd ignored Maggie's instruction to stay put because, of course she had. Mom, I'm hungry. Can we order pizza? Baby, not now. I like pizza, Snake said. He was the youngest biker, couldn't have been more than 25. What's your favorite kind? Pepperoni and pineapple. The other bikers groaned. Snake grinned. That's controversial. I respect it. Snake, Briggs warned. What, the kid's hungry? We interrupted their dinner. Least we can do is feed them. Maggie started to protest, but her stomach betrayed her with a loud growl. She hadn't eaten since breakfast had been too busy at the hospital to take a proper lunch break. Leia heard it and giggled. See, you're hungry too. Fine, fine, but you're not coming up to my apartment. We'll order delivery and you can all leave. We'll wait until the food arrives, Briggs said. It wasn't a question. Maggie wanted to argue, but she was too tired, too emotionally wrung out. She nodded, pulled out her phone, ordered 3 large pizzas because there was no way 2 would feed 6 bikers and a growing 9-year-old. The restaurant promised 45 minutes. Those 45 minutes felt like hours. Maggie sat on the hood of her car, Leia beside her, swinging her legs while the Hells Angels stood around like leather-clad sentinels. Mrs. Chen eventually came down from her balcony, curiosity winning over caution. Maggie, everything okay? Everything's fine, Mrs. Chen. These men are friends. Old friends? From before. Mrs. Chen looked skeptical, but she nodded and retreated. Maggie knew the questions would come later. The whole complex would be buzzing with gossip by morning. Your daughter's a good kid, Tank said, watching Leia draw in her sketchbook again. She grabbed it from the car and was now sketching the motorcycles with intense concentration. She's my whole world. She looks like you. Same eyes. She acts like me too. Stubborn, doesn't listen, gets into trouble. Apple doesn't fall far. Maggie almost smiled. No, it doesn't. Reaper cleared his throat. What you did that night, in the warehouse, that took guts. It took panic and a lucky shot. Lucky or not, you saved Hawk. You saved one of ours. That means something. It should have meant something then. It did. We just didn't know it. The pizza arrived in 38 minutes, carried by a nervous delivery kid who clearly didn't expect to be handing boxes to a group of Hells Angels. Briggs tipped him $100. The kid's eyes went wide and he practically ran back to his car. That was too much, Maggie said. Kid earned it. Didn't run screaming. Leia grabbed a slice, immediately burning her mouth because she didn't wait for it to cool. Maggie passed out paper plates and napkins, feeling surreal. Here she was having an impromptu parking lot pizza party with the men who'd wanted her dead. Mom, Leia said through a mouthful of pineapple and pepperoni, can I ask them about their motorcycles? After you finish eating. Can I sit on one? Absolutely not. Please, Leia. She can sit on mine, Snake offered. It's the safest one, has the best suspension. Snake don't encourage her. But Leia was already sliding off the hood, pizza in hand, making her way to Snake's bike. He followed, pointing out features, explaining how the engine worked. Her questions came rapid fire, earnest and curious. Snake answered each one with patience. He's good with kids, Tank observed. He has 3 nieces, Briggs said, spoils them rotten. Maggie watched her daughter laugh at something Snake said, watched her touch the chrome carefully like it might break. She's never had this, male attention, positive male attention. Her father was a mistake I made when I was lonely and scared. He lasted 6 months before he decided fatherhood wasn't for him. She was 4 months old when he left. Hasn't seen him since. His loss. That's what I tell her. Briggs finished his pizza, wiped his hands on his jeans. Tomorrow I'm sending someone to look at your car. Get it fixed up proper. New tires, new brakes, whatever it needs. I can't afford, you're not paying, we are. Briggs, this isn't up for debate, Maggie. You're under our protection now. That means we take care of you. It's how this works. I don't want to be under anyone's protection. I want to be left alone. Too late for that. He met her eyes. The second your daughter opened her mouth in that diner, your cover was blown. Every Hell's Angel from here to California is going to know by midnight that we found you, which means every enemy of ours is going to know you're back in contact with us. Maggie's blood went cold. You're saying I'm in danger. I'm saying you might be, and we're not taking chances, not with you, not with her. He nodded toward Leia. This is exactly what I didn't want. This is why I stayed hidden. I know, and I'm sorry, but it is what it is now. We deal with reality, not wishes. Tank crushed his pizza box, tossed it in the dumpster nearby. We'll have someone watching the apartment. You won't see them, but they'll be here. Probably Dice, he's good at being invisible. I don't want someone watching my apartment. You want your daughter safe? Of course I want her safe. Then you get someone watching your apartment. Maggie stood up angry now. You don't get to waltz back into my life after 9 years and start making decisions for me. You're right, we don't. Briggs stood too, matching her energy. But we're going to anyway, because that's what family does. And your family, whether you want to be or not. You have the mark. You saved Hawk. You're one of us. I was never one of you. I was just a girl who ran errands and got in over her head. You were more than that. You are more than that. They stared at each other across the parking lot, the tension thick enough to cut. Leia chose that moment to come running back, oblivious to the adult drama unfolding. Mom Snake says I can learn to ride when I'm older. Can I please? Over my dead body. Oh, come on. No motorcycles. Not now, not ever. Leia pouted but didn't push. She knew that tone. Maggie was done negotiating. The bikers started mounting their machines one by one. Engines roared to life, filling the parking lot with sound and fury. Leia covered her ears but smiled. She loved it, Maggie could tell. Loved the noise and the danger and the excitement. Briggs was the last to mount up. We'll be in touch. Tomorrow someone comes to fix your car. Next week Hawk wants to visit. After that, we figure out what comes next. I don't want Hawk to visit. He needs to see you. Needs to know you're okay. Give him that much. Maggie wanted to refuse. Wanted to slam the door on this whole situation and pretend it never happened. But she'd seen Hawk's voice break on the phone, heard the pain and guilt he'd carried. One visit, she said. One. And then you all leave me alone. We'll never leave you alone. Not anymore. You're stuck with us now. He kick-started his bike, the engine catching with a throaty roar. The others fell into formation and they rolled out of the parking lot in a thunder of chrome and leather. Neighbors watched from windows and balconies. The Ramirez kids stood frozen with their basketball. Mrs. Chen had her phone out recording. Leia waved until they disappeared around the corner. Then she turned to Maggie with shining eyes. That was the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. That was terrifying. You knew them in Vegas, really? Really? And you have a tattoo like theirs. Maggie sighed, pulled down her collar, showed her daughter the mark she'd kept hidden for 9 years. Leia's eyes went wide. Whoa, that's so cool. Why didn't you ever show me? Because it's from a part of my life I wanted to forget. But they're nice. They bought us pizza. They're dangerous, Leia, and complicated. And we're going to have to talk about some things now. Things I didn't want you to know yet. Like what? Maggie looked up at their apartment, at the life they'd built here. Safe, quiet, normal. And all of that was about to change, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Like where I came from, and what I did before you were born, and why those men respect me. Did you save someone's life? Maggie blinked. How did you? I heard them talking. When I was in the bathroom, the walls are thin and they were being loud. They said you saved someone named Hawk. Smart kid, too smart. Yes, I saved Hawk's life, and then I had to run away because nobody believed me. And now they know the truth, and everything's different. Are they going to protect us? Apparently. Good. Leia grabbed the pizza boxes, started carrying them toward the stairs. I was getting tired of that creepy guy on the first floor who always stares at you. What creepy guy? The one in apartment 102 with the beard. He watches you when you come home from work. Maggie's skin crawled. She'd noticed him once or twice, but had told herself she was being paranoid. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want you to worry. You already worry about everything. They climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, Maggie's mind racing. A strange man watching her. The Guerreros possibly still out there. Her cover blown. And now 6 Hell's Angels who'd appointed themselves her protectors. She unlocked the apartment door, flipped on the lights. Home. Small and shabby, but home. Leia dumped the pizza boxes on the kitchen counter and went to wash her hands. Maggie's phone buzzed, an unknown number. We found the guy in 102. He's not a resident. Lisa's in a fake name. We're checking him out. Might be nothing. Might be something. Either way, he won't be a problem by morning. Briggs? Maggie's hands shook as she read the message. They were already watching, already protecting, already making decisions about threats she didn't even know existed. Mom, Leia called from the bathroom, can I wear my new shirt to school tomorrow, the one with the sparkles? Sure, baby, whatever you want. And can I tell my friends about the motorcycles? Let's maybe keep that between us for now. Leia appeared in the doorway, hands dripping wet. Why, it's so cool. Because some things are private family business. But they're not family. You just met them again after years. It's complicated. You keep saying that. Maggie pulled her daughter close, held her tight. I know, and I'll explain it all someday. But right now, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? I always trust you, Mom. Good now, go get ready for bed. Tomorrow's a school day. But it's only 7:30. Brush your teeth anyway, read for a bit. I need to make some phone calls. Leia grumbled but obeyed. Maggie waited until she heard the bathroom door close before she pulled out all the phone numbers the bikers had given her. She stared at them, these connections to a past she'd tried to bury. Her phone buzzed again, another unknown number. Guy in 102 is confirmed Guerrero. Low level, probably just surveillance. He's been watching you for 3 weeks. We're handling it. Don't go outside tonight. Tank. 3 weeks. Someone had been watching her for 3 weeks and she hadn't known, hadn't suspected. She'd been so careful for so long, and somehow they'd found her anyway. Or maybe it was just bad luck. Maybe Leia showing that tattoo to a Hell's Angel in a diner had nothing to do with it. Maybe the Guerreros had been closing in all along, and this was just terrible timing. Her phone rang. She didn't recognize the number but answered anyway. Maggie? It was Hawk's voice, rough and familiar. Briggs told me about the guy in your building. Are you okay? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. I'm coming up tomorrow. First thing, I need to see you. Hawk, please, I've waited 9 years. I can't wait any longer. She closed her eyes, felt tears burning behind her lids. Okay, tomorrow. But Hawk, I'm not the same person you knew. I have a daughter. I have responsibilities. I can't just jump back into that life. I'm not asking you to. I just need to see your face. Need to know you're real and not some ghost I've been chasing. I'm real, I'm here, and I'm terrified. I know. Me too. They sat in silence on the phone, two people connected by violence and blood, and a night 9 years ago that changed everything. Hawk, Maggie said finally, what if they come for me, the Guerreros? What if being in contact with you guys puts Leia in danger? Then we kill them all, every last one, before they ever get close to you or your daughter. The certainty in his voice should have scared her. Instead, it felt like relief, like maybe after 9 years of running and hiding and looking over her shoulder, she could finally stop. I'll see you tomorrow, she said. Tomorrow. She hung up, stared at her phone at the unknown numbers piling up in her call log. Her quiet life was over. The second Leia had opened her mouth in that diner, everything had changed. But maybe, just maybe, change didn't have to mean bad. From the bathroom, Leia called out, Mom, I'm done brushing. Can I have one more piece of pizza? Yes, baby, come get it. Leia emerged in her pajamas, hair damp from washing her face. She grabbed a cold slice, ate it standing at the counter. Are those men really going to protect us? Yes. Good, I like them, especially Snake. He's funny. They're dangerous people, Leia. But they're good dangerous, right? Like they're scary, but they're on our side. Maggie thought about that. Good dangerous. Maybe that was exactly what they were. Yeah, she said, they're on our side. Cool. Leia finished her pizza, kissed Maggie's cheek. Night, Mom. Love you. Love you too, baby. Leia went to her room, closed the door. Maggie heard the bed springs creak as her daughter climbed into bed. Maggie walked to the window, looked out at the parking lot below. She couldn't see anyone watching, but she knew they were there. Dice Tank had said, good at being invisible, keeping her safe, keeping Leia safe. Her phone buzzed one more time. Guy's gone, won't be bothering you again. Sleep well. Briggs, gone. What did that mean? She didn't want to know, didn't want to think about what the Hell's Angels did to people who threatened their own. But she was their own now, whether she wanted to be or not. The mark on her shoulder proved it. The ink Briggs had put there himself years ago in a Vegas motel room after she'd proven herself. She tried to run from it, tried to be someone else. Margaret Henderson, CNA, single mother, quiet and normal and forgettable. But Maggie had found her way back anyway. Or maybe Maggie had never really left. Maybe she'd just been waiting all this time for someone to see past the disguise. She touched her shoulder where the tattoo sat beneath her scrubs, felt the raised lines of the scar tissue, the permanent reminder of who she'd been, who she maybe still was. Tomorrow Hawk would come. Tomorrow everything would get even more complicated. But tonight, for the first time in 9 years, Maggie felt something she hadn't let herself feel in a long time. Safe. She closed the curtains, locked the door, checked on Laya one more time. Her daughter was already asleep clutching her sketchbook, probably dreaming about motorcycles and leather-clad protectors. Maggie climbed into her own bed, set her alarm for the morning shift she probably shouldn't go to, but would anyway, because bills didn't pay themselves, and closed her eyes. Outside, Dice watched from the shadows, invisible and vigilant. Inside, a mother and daughter slept protected by men who'd once hunted them and now would die to keep them safe. The world had shifted on its axis today. Tomorrow would bring more shifts, more changes, more complications. But that was tomorrow's problem. Tonight they were safe. And for now, that was enough. Maggie's alarm screamed at 5 in the morning. She slapped it, silent, dragged herself out of bed, every muscle aching from tension she hadn't released. The apartment was dark and cold. She checked her phone first thing, 3 new messages. Perimeter secure. Nothing moved all night. Dice. Hawks leaving Phoenix at 7. Should be there by 9. Briggs. Coffee's on your doorstep. You're gonna need it. Tank. She opened the door carefully, half expecting it to be a joke. But there it was, a thermos of coffee still hot with a note taped to it. Vanilla latte, 2 sugars. Briggs remembered your order. Maggie's hands trembled as she poured a cup. Briggs remembered. After 9 years, he remembered how she took her coffee. That shouldn't have mattered. It shouldn't have made her throat tight and her eyes burn. But it did. She showered fast, threw on her scrubs, checked on Laya. Still asleep, one arm dangling off the bed, mouth open. Maggie kissed her forehead, left a note on the kitchen counter. Breakfast money on the table. Walk to school with Emma like always. I love you. Stay safe. She added her own phone number at the bottom, even though Leia had it memorized, just in case. The drive to the hospital felt different. Every car behind her could be a threat. Every person on the sidewalk could be watching. Her rearview mirror became an obsession, checking it every 5 seconds until her neck cramped. She made it to Flagstaff Medical Center at 6:15, parked in her usual spot. The night shift was ending, people shuffling out looking as exhausted as she felt. She clocked in, grabbed her assignment sheet. 6 patients on the cardiac floor. Mrs. Patterson in 304 needed her medications adjusted. Mr. Diaz in 310 was a fall risk. Everything normal, everything routine, except nothing felt normal anymore. Maggie. Her supervisor, Karen, appeared at the nurse's station. You okay? You look like you didn't sleep. I'm fine, just a rough night. We'll try to wake up. We're short-staffed, and it's going to be crazy today. It was always crazy. That's why Maggie worked here. The chaos kept her mind occupied, kept her from thinking too much about the past. But today, the chaos wasn't enough. Today, her mind kept drifting to Hawk, driving up from Phoenix to the Guerreros who'd been watching her apartment, to Leia, waking up and eating breakfast alone. Her phone buzzed at 7:30. Leia from her cell phone that Maggie had bought her for emergencies only. Mom, there's a man outside. Maggie's heart stopped. What man? Where? In a car across the street. He's been there since I woke up. Leia locked the door. Don't go to school. Call 911 right now. Mom, wait. He's got a leather jacket. Is he one of the motorcycle guys? Maggie's panic shifted to anger. What does he look like? Old, like maybe 50, bald. He's drinking coffee and reading a newspaper. That was Dice. Had to be. Briggs had said he'd be watching. That's okay, baby. He's supposed to be there. He's keeping you safe. Oh, should I wave at him? No, just ignore him and get ready for school like normal. Okay. Mom. Yeah. This is kind of exciting. It's not exciting. It's dangerous. Please be careful. I'm always careful. I know. I love you. Love you too. Maggie hung up, leaned against the wall, tried to catch her breath. This was her life now. Armed guards watching her daughter, checking her phone every 5 minutes, jumping at shadows. Maggie, Karen's voice cut through her spiral. Mrs. Patterson's call light is on. Move. Work. She could do work. She could check vitals and distribute meds and help people to the bathroom. She could be Margaret Henderson CNA for a few more hours before Hawk showed up and shattered whatever remained of that identity. The morning crawled by. Mrs. Patterson complained about her breakfast. Mr. Diaz tried to get out of bed without assistance and nearly fell. A new admit came in at 8:15, chest pains possible, moam. All hands on deck. Maggie fell into the rhythm of it, let training take over, pushed everything else into a box in the back of her mind. At 8:50, her phone buzzed again. Briggs. Hawk's 5 minutes out. Where are you? Working. I can't just leave. Yes, you can. This is more important. I have patients, people who need me. And Hawk needs you too. He's been waiting 9 years. He can't wait another 8 hours. Maggie looked at Karen, who was buried in paperwork at the nurse's station, looked at her patient assignments, looked at the clock. I need to take an early lunch, she told Karen. Now it's not even 9. Personal emergency, I'll be back in an hour. Maggie, we're understaffed. 1 hour, please. Something in Maggie's voice made Karen pause. Fine, 1 hour, not a minute more. Maggie ran, out of the cardiac wing down 3 flights of stairs because the elevator was too slow through the lobby into the parking lot. Her Honda was right where she'd left it, but next to it sat a motorcycle, sleek and black engine still ticking from the heat. And leaning against it was Hawk. He looked older. Lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before. Gray in his beard, but his eyes were the same sharp and brown and full of things he didn't know how to say. They stared at each other across 15 feet of asphalt. You're really here, Hawk said finally. His voice cracked on the last word. I'm really here. I thought I'd never see you again. I thought you were dead or worse, and it was my fault for bringing you into that warehouse for not protecting you. Stop. Maggie closed the distance between them. That night wasn't your fault. None of it was your fault. I should have known it was a setup, should have seen the signs. We both missed them. Cisco was good. He fooled us both. Hawk reached out slowly like he was afraid she'd disappear if he moved too fast. His hand touched her shoulder, right where the tattoo was hidden under her scrubs. You kept it. Of course I kept it. You can't exactly remove a tattoo like that without raising questions. That's not what I meant. His thumb traced the outline through the fabric. You could have covered it, gotten something else inked over it. But you didn't. No, I didn't. Why? Maggie looked away, unable to meet his eyes. Because it was the only proof I had that any of it was real, that I'd been someone who mattered even for a little while. You mattered. You still matter. For 9 years, I thought you all wanted me dead. For 9 years, I thought you'd betrayed us and gotten away with it. Every day I woke up thinking about how I'd failed to protect you, failed to see what you really were. Except I was wrong. I was so goddamn wrong. His hand dropped from her shoulder. He turned away, gripping the bike's handlebars so hard his knuckles went white. Hawk, do you know what that does to a person? Spending 9 years believing something that turns out to be a lie. I mourned you, Maggie. I mourned the woman I thought you were, mourned the friendship we had. And then Briggs calls me yesterday and tells me you're alive, you're innocent, you saved my life, and I never knew. How am I supposed to process that? I don't know. I don't have answers for you. I need answers. I need to understand how we got it so wrong. Maggie leaned against her car, suddenly exhausted. You got it wrong because I ran instead of staying to explain. Because I was scared and alone and 9 weeks pregnant, and all I could think about was protecting the baby I didn't even know I was carrying. Hawk spun around. You were pregnant that night. I found out 2 weeks later, after I'd already changed my name, and by then it was too late to come back. I had Leia to think about. Leia. Hawk said her name like he was tasting it. Briggs said she's 9. 9 and too smart for her own good. Is she mine? The question hung in the air between them, heavy and dangerous. Maggie met his eyes. No, I was with her father after I left Vegas. It didn't last. He's not in the picture. Relief and disappointment warred across Hawk's face. I wouldn't have minded, if she was. I would have. I know, but she's not. She's just mine. A car pulled into the lot. Then another. Maggie recognized Briggs' bike tanks. They were early, or maybe right on time, making sure this reunion didn't go sideways. You brought backup, Maggie said. I didn't ask them to come. They came anyway. Hawk straightened, crossed his arms. They're worried I'm going to say something stupid and drive you away again. Are you? I'm trying not to. Briggs dismounted, walked over with Tank and Reaper flanking him. Everything good here? We're talking, Hawk said. Looked more like staring. We're doing that too. Tank looked at Maggie. You eat breakfast? Coffee. That's not breakfast. Come on, there's a diner across the street. You can talk there. I can't. I have to be back at work in 45 minutes. Then we talk fast. They ended up at a booth in the back of the diner away from the morning crowd. Maggie ordered eggs she didn't want. Hawk got coffee he didn't drink. The others spread out, watching the door, watching the windows, watching everything. Tell me about her, Hawk said. About Leia. Maggie pulled out her phone, showed him pictures. Leia at her school play, Leia at the park, Leia's gap-toothed smile from 2 years ago when she'd lost her first tooth. She looks happy. I work a lot too much probably, but I try to make sure she's happy. You're a good mother. I'm a tired mother. Hawk smiled, small and sad. You always wanted kids. I remember you talking about it. How you'd have 3 or 4, raise them right, give them everything you never had. I remember that too. Seems like a different person said it. Same person, just older. Older and wiser and so tired I could sleep for a week. The food came. Maggie pushed eggs around her plate. Hawk finally drank some of his coffee, grimaced at the taste. I need to ask you something, he said, and I need you to be honest. Okay? That night in the warehouse, when you shot Cisco, did you hesitate? Maggie set down her fork. No, I saw him pointing the gun at your head, and I fired. I didn't think. I just reacted. Why? Because you were my friend. Because you'd protected me more times than I could count. Because the thought of watching you die was unbearable. We barely knew each other. 6 months, you said. That's not long. Long enough to matter. Hawk's jaw worked. He looked away out the window at the parking lot. I dreamed about you. For years, not good dreams. Dreams where you were laughing while I bled out. Dreams where you'd set the whole thing up from the start, played me from the beginning. I never played you. I know that now. Doesn't make the dreams go away. Maggie reached across the table, took his hand. His skin was rough, scarred. I'm sorry. For running. For not finding a way to tell you the truth. For letting you think the worst of me for 9 years. I'm sorry for not fighting harder to find you. For believing you were guilty when every instinct I had said you weren't. They sat like that, hands clasped across a diner table, 2 people trying to bridge 9 years of hurt and misunderstanding. Briggs cleared his throat. Hate to break this up, but we've got a problem. Maggie pulled her hand back. What kind of problem? The kind where 3 Guerreros just pulled into the hospital parking lot. Maggie's blood turned to ice. Leia's at school. They don't know about her. They know. Briggs held up his phone, showed her a photo. It was Leia taken from a distance, walking to school with her friend Emma. This was posted to a Guerrero's message board 30 minutes ago. Caption says, found the nurse's weakness. Maggie was moving before she finished processing the words. Out of the booth, running for the door, Hawk was right behind her, then Briggs, then the others. Keys, Hawk demanded handout. You're too panicked to drive. She threw them at him. They piled into her Honda Hawk, driving Maggie in the passenger seat, Briggs in the back on the phone barking orders. Snake, you are closest to the elementary school. Get there now. Find the Henderson girl. Don't let her out of your sight. Dice, you still at the apartment. Good. Lock it down. Anyone comes near that building who's not one of ours, you stop them. I don't care how. Hawk drove like he was racing the devil, weaving through traffic, blowing through lights. Maggie's phone rang. The school. Ms. Henderson, this is Principal Davies. There's been an incident. What kind of incident? A man tried to sign Leia out of school, said he was her uncle, but he's not on the approved pickup list, and Leia said she doesn't have an uncle. We've kept her in the office, but Miss Henderson, he was very insistent. We've called the police. Lock every door. Don't let anyone in or out until I get there. I'm 5 minutes away. Ms. Henderson, 5 minutes. Keep her safe. She hung up, looked at Hawk. They tried to take her from school. They're not getting her. His voice was flat cold. I swear to God, Maggie, they're not touching that little girl. They screeched into the school parking lot at 9:40. Squad cars were already there, lights flashing. And standing by the entrance, looking confused and scared, was Leia with Principal Davies and a police officer. Maggie was out of the car before Hawk fully stopped running across the lot, pulling Leia into her arms so hard the girl gasped. "Mom, I can't breathe." Sorry, are you okay? Did he touch you?" "No, Mr. Davies wouldn't let him near me. He said his name was Uncle Ray and you'd sent him, but I knew you didn't because I don't have an Uncle Ray." Smart girl. Such a smart girl. The police officer approached. "Ms. Henderson, I'm Officer Martinez. We need to ask you some questions." "Not now. I need to get my daughter somewhere safe." "Ma'am, a man attempted to kidnap your child from school. We need—" She said not now. Hawk appeared beside them, tall and intimidating in his leather. "She'll come to the station later. Right now we're leaving." Officer Martinez looked at Hawk at the other bikers appearing from various vehicles at the situation rapidly spiraling beyond his control. "Sir, I can't let you, Yes, you can, because the alternative is we stand here arguing while the people who tried to take this kid regroup and try again. You want that on your conscience?" Martinez looked at his partner, at the growing crowd of parents and teachers, at Laia clutching her mother like a lifeline. "Fine, but I expect you at the station by this afternoon, both of you." "We'll be there." Hawk guided Maggie and Laia back to the Honda. Briggs appeared from somewhere, handed Maggie a different set of keys. "Take my truck. It's the gray Ford third row. Windows are tinted, doors are reinforced. You'll be safer." "Where are we going?" "Safe house outside of town. Place we use for situations like this. You'll stay there until we figure out how many Guerreros are in Flagstaff and what they want." "I know what they want. Revenge. For that night. For Cisco." "Maybe. Or maybe they just want leverage. Either way, we're not giving them the chance to find out." Leia was crying now, quiet tears streaming down her face. "Mom, I'm scared." "I know, baby. Me too. But these men are going to keep us safe. I promise." "The man at school said terrible things, said you'd hurt his friend, said you had to pay." Maggie's arms tightened around her daughter. "I did what I had to do to protect someone I cared about. Just like I'm protecting you now." They transferred to Briggs's truck. Hawk drove again, taking side streets and back roads, constantly checking the mirrors. Snake appeared on his bike, flanking them. Then Reaper. Then Tank. An escort of leather and chrome surrounding them on all sides. The safe house was 45 minutes outside Flagstaff, hidden down a dirt road that barely qualified as a road. It was small, one-story windows, barred door, reinforced. Not pretty, but secure. Inside was basic: a couch, a table, 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, stocked with canned goods and bottled water. Maggie walked through it in a daze, Leia stuck to her side like glue. "How long do we stay here?" Maggie asked. "As long as it takes," Briggs said. "Otasu, we've got people tracking down every Guerrero in a 100-mile radius. Once we know how many we're dealing with, we make a plan." "I have to work. I have bills. I can't just disappear." "You're on emergency medical leave as of an hour ago. Karen approved it, and your rent's covered for the next 3 months." "You can't just arrange my life." "Yes, I can, because your life and your daughter's life are in danger, and you don't get to be stubborn about accepting help." "Not anymore." Maggie wanted to argue, wanted to rage at him for taking control, for making decisions without her input. But Leia was shaking against her side, and the fear in her daughter's eyes killed any protest. Okay, we'll stay." "Good," Briggs nodded to Hawk. "You're on first watch. I'll send Dice to relieve you in 6 hours." "I'm staying," Hawk said. "I'm not leaving them." "Hawk, I'm staying." He met Briggs' eyes, challenge clear. Briggs studied him, then nodded. "Fine, but you follow protocol. Anything moves outside, you call it in. You don't engage alone." "Understood." The others left him, engines fading into the distance until there was only silence and dust. Maggie stood in the middle of the safe house, Laia pressed against her, Hawk standing guard by the window, and tried to figure out how her life had fallen apart so completely in less than 24 hours. "Mom," Laia whispered, "Oh, what's happening? Why do those people want to hurt us?" Maggie guided her to the couch, sat down, pulled her daughter into her lap, even though Laia was getting too big for it. "A long time ago, before you were born, I did something good. I saved a man's life. But the people who wanted him dead got angry at me. And now they want to hurt me for it. That's not fair. No, it's not. But Hawk and the others, they were going to stop them, right? Yes, they're going to stop them. Leia was quiet for a moment, processing. Then, I don't want to die, Mom. Maggie's heart shattered. You're not going to die. I won't let that happen. I will do anything to keep you safe. Do you understand me? But what if? No, there's no what if. You're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Hawk spoke from the window, voice rough. She's right, kid. Nobody's dying today. Not on my watch. Leia twisted to look at him. You're the one my mom saved. Yeah. She's really brave, isn't she? Bravest person I know. Are you brave too? I try to be. Will you teach me to be brave? Hawk finally turned from the window, looked at this 9-year-old girl with her mother's eyes and her mother's courage. Yeah, I'll teach you. Maggie's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. We have 4 Guerreros in custody, 2 ran, still tracking them. Stay put, Briggs. Then another text, this one with a photo. It was Cisco's brother Carlos. The resemblance was unmistakable. Same eyes, same scar on his cheek. This is who's hunting you. Carlos Mendoza. He's wanted revenge since you shot his brother. Took him 9 years to find you, but he did. We're going to make sure he regrets it. Briggs. Maggie stared at the photo. She remembered Cisco's face in the warehouse, remembered his finger on the trigger, remembered the split-second decision that had changed everything. I don't regret it, she said aloud. What? Hawk asked. Shooting Cisco. I don't regret it, even knowing it would lead to this, to 9 years of running to my daughter being threatened. I'd do it again. Because you were worth saving. Hawk crossed the room, knelt in front of her and Leia. And you're worth protecting. Both of you. Whatever it takes. Leia reached out, touched the scar on Hawk's chest that she could see through his open collar. Is that from the night Mom saved you? Yeah. Does it hurt? Not anymore. Your mom made sure of that. Leia looked at Maggie with new eyes. You're like a superhero. I'm just a mom who did what she had to do. That's what superheroes say. Despite everything, Maggie smiled. Go look in the kitchen. See if there's anything decent to eat. Leia hopped up, walked to the kitchen, started opening cabinets. The moment she was out of earshot, Maggie's smile vanished. This is my fault, she said to Hawk. I brought this danger to her. If I just stayed in Vegas, faced the music, you'd be dead, and Leia would never have existed. Don't do that to yourself. How do I protect her from this? How do I keep her safe when men with guns want me dead? You let us help. You stop trying to carry it alone. I've been alone for 9 years. I don't know how to not be alone anymore. Hawk took her hand, squeezed, then learn, starting now. From the kitchen, Leia called out, Mom, there's SpaghettiOs. Can I have SpaghettiOs? Sure, baby, heat them up on the stove. I don't know how to use the stove. Then I'll teach you. Maggie stood, went to the kitchen, showed her daughter how to open the can, pour it in a pot, turn on the burner. Normal things, mother-daughter things, as if armed men weren't hunting them, as if their lives weren't in pieces. But that was what you did. You kept going. You taught your daughter to heat up SpaghettiOs, and you held her hand, and you pretended everything would be okay. And maybe if you pretended hard enough, it would be. Leia ate her SpaghettiOs at the small kitchen table, swinging her legs and humming something off-key. Maggie watched her memorizing every detail the way she always ate the pasta rings first and saved the sauce-soaked chunks for last, the small scar on her chin from falling off her bike last summer, the gap where her left canine was still growing in. If something happened, if the Guerreros got through, Maggie wanted to remember everything. Stop looking at me like that, Leia said without glancing up. Like what? Like you're memorizing my face. I'm not. Yes, you are. You do it when you're scared. You did it before my surgery when I had to get my tonsils out. And when that mean dog got loose in our neighborhood. Hawk made a sound from the window that might have been a laugh. She's got you figured out. She's too observant for her own good, Maggie muttered. Leia finally looked up, orange sauce on her upper lip. Mom, can I ask you something? Always. When you shot that man, the one whose brother wants to hurt us now, did you kill him? The question landed like a bomb in the quiet kitchen. Hawk went still at the window. Maggie's breath caught in her throat. No, she said carefully. I shot him in the shoulder. He lived. But you would have killed him if you had to, right to save Hawk. Leia. I'm not a baby. I need to know. Would you have killed him? Maggie crossed to the table, sat down across from her daughter. Yes, if it meant saving Hawk's life, yes, I would have. Good. Leia went back to her SpaghettiOs. I'm glad you're not the kind of person who lets bad people win. When did you get so grown up? I've always been grown up. You just didn't notice because you were busy being scared all the time. Maggie blinked back tears. Was it that obvious? Mom, you jump every time someone knocks on the door. You check the locks 5 times before bed. You never talk about where we came from or why we don't have family. Yeah, it was obvious. Hawk turned from the window. Your mom was trying to protect you. I know, and I love her for it, but I'm not stupid. I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what. Leia scraped the last bit of sauce from her bowl. Now I do, and honestly, it's kind of a relief. A relief, Maggie asked. At least now I know the monster is real. It's easier to fight something real than something you just imagine in the dark. Maggie's phone buzzed before she could respond. Briggs. 2 Guerreros still in the wind. Carlos is one of them. He's smart, stayed off grid. We're checking every motel, every contact, every place he might hole up. But Maggie, he's got resources. This isn't just revenge anymore. He's got backing from the Sinaloa cartel. They want to make an example out of you. Her hands shook as she typed back. Why now? Why after 9 years? Because you disappeared too well. Took them this long to find you. Carlos has been hunting you the whole time. Never stopped. Never forgot. What do I do? You let us handle it. You stay put. You trust us. Trust. She'd spent 9 years trusting no one but herself. Now she was supposed to hand over her safety, her daughter's safety, to men who'd once wanted her dead. But what choice did she have? Hawk's phone rang. He answered, listened, his face going hard. When? How many, Jesus? Okay. Yeah, she's here. I'll tell her. He hung up, looked at Maggie. That was Snake. Carlos just posted a video on some cartel message board. You need to see it. I don't want Leia. She should see it too. She needs to understand what we're dealing with. Maggie wanted to argue, but Leia was already standing, walking over. Show me. Hawk pulled up the video on his phone. The screen filled with Carlos's face, older than his brother, harder eyes, cold as winter. Margaret Henderson, Carlos said in heavily accented English. You think you can hide from me. You think changing your name makes you safe. I found you. I found your daughter, and I'm going to make you watch her die before I kill you. Just like you made me watch my brother bleed. The video cut to footage of Leia walking to school that morning, laughing with her friend Emma. Then to Maggie's apartment building. Then to the hospital where she worked. Carlos had been following them for weeks, maybe months. You took my brother from me, Carlos continued, so I take everything from you, starting today. The video ended. Leia's face had gone pale, but her voice was steady. He's really serious about this. Yes, Hawk said, and you guys are going to stop him. Yes. However, we have to. Maggie pulled Leia close. Baby, I'm so sorry. I never wanted this life to touch you. I tried so hard. Mom, stop apologizing. You saved someone's life. That's not something to be sorry about. Leia pulled back, looked her mother in the eye. If you hadn't shot Cisco, Hawk would be dead. Right. Then you did the right thing. And if his stupid brother can't understand that, then he's the problem, not you. Hawk knelt beside them. Kid, you are one tough cookie. I learned from the best. Leia touched her mother's face. Mom's been fighting her whole life. She taught me how. Maggie's phone exploded with texts. Briggs, Tank, Reaper, Snake all reporting in. Carlos had been spotted at a gas station 30 miles away. They were moving to intercept. Maggie should sit tight, stay safe, let them handle it. I can't just sit here, Maggie said. He's after me. I should be part of stopping him. No. Hawk stood blocking her path to the door. You stay with your daughter. That's your job. My job is to end this, to make sure he never threatens Leia again. And our job is to make sure you live long enough to watch her grow up. Let us do our job, Maggie. They stared at each other, wills clashing. Finally, Maggie backed down. Not because she agreed, but because Leia's hand was gripping hers so tightly it hurt, and she could feel her daughter's fear through that touch. Fine, but if something goes wrong, nothing's going wrong. We've been doing this for 20 years. We know how to handle guys like Carlos. Hawk's phone rang again. I'm on. He answered, his expression changing from confident to concerned in seconds. Say that again. Are you sure how many? He lowered the phone. Carlos wasn't at the gas station. That was a decoy. His cousin looks just like him from a distance. The real Carlos is here. Here. Maggie's blood turned to ice. How close? Close. Snake spotted his car about 2 miles out heading this way. He must have followed us somehow or had someone watching who reported back. How long do we have? 10 minutes, maybe less. Maggie grabbed Leia. Is there a back way out? Only the dirt road we came in on. If Carlos is coming from that direction, then we're trapped. Hawk was already moving, pulling weapons from the hidden compartments in the safe house. Guns Maggie hadn't known were their ammunition, body armor. He tossed a vest at Maggie. Put this on. I can't shoot. I mean, I did once, but I'm not trained. You're about to get a crash course. Leia, go to the bedroom. Get in the closet. Don't come out until your mother or I come get you. I'm not hiding while you fight. Yes, you are. This is not negotiable. Hawk's voice went hard, commanding. Your mother needs to focus on staying alive. She can't do that if she's worried about you. So you go hide, you stay quiet, and you let us handle this. Leia looked at Maggie, who nodded. Do what he says, baby. Please. But now Leia. Leia ran, disappearing into the bedroom. The closet door clicked shut. Maggie felt like her heart was being ripped out, sending her daughter to hide while danger approached. But Hawk was right. She couldn't fight and protect Leia at the same time. Hawk handed her a gun. Glock 19, 15 rounds. Safety's here. You point, you squeeze. Don't aim for the head, aim for center mass, biggest target. I don't know if I can do this again. You already did it once, you can do it again. He checked his own weapon, a bigger pistol she didn't recognize. I've called for backup. Briggs and the others are 10 minutes out. We just have to hold until they get here. And if we can't, then we die protecting your daughter. Simple as that. The sound of an engine cut through the air. Then another. At least 3 vehicles, maybe more. Hawk moved to the window, peered out carefully. 4 cars. Could be a dozen men. Carlos isn't messing around. How do we survive this? We don't panic. We use the house as cover, and we pray backup gets here before they breach. The engines cut off. Car doors opened and slammed. Footsteps on gravel. Voices in Spanish, harsh and aggressive. Maggie couldn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. These men were here to kill. A bullhorn crackled. Margaret Henderson. We know you're in there. Send out the girl and maybe we'll let you live. Hawk looked at Maggie. Don't respond. Don't give them anything. The girl now, or we burn this place down with all of you inside. Maggie's finger tightened on the trigger. Every maternal instinct screamed at her to give them what they wanted, to sacrifice herself if it meant Leia lived. But she knew how this worked. They'd kill Leia anyway. Use her as leverage, as torture, as punishment. There was no negotiating with men like this. 10 seconds. Then we come in. Hawk positioned himself by the front door, gun raised. Maggie took the window, hands shaking so badly she could barely hold the Glock. 10-9-8. Mom, Leia's voice from the bedroom, small and scared. Stay quiet, baby. Stay hidden. Episode 5. The countdown felt like falling, like the ground rushing up to meet her. Maggie thought about every choice that had led here. Agreeing to go with Hawk that night, pulling the trigger in the warehouse, running instead of staying. Every decision a domino leading inevitably to this moment. 4-3. I love you, Leia, Maggie shouted. Whatever happens, I love you. 2. The world held its breath. Glass shattered. A window at the bottom of the house exploded inward. Men poured through, 3 of them, guns raised. Hawk spun, fired twice. 1 man went down, the other 2 scattered. The front door buckled under something heavy, a battering ram maybe. Wood splintered. Maggie fired through the door, not knowing if she hit anything, just trying to slow them down. Bedroom, Hawk shouted. Get to Leia. Maggie ran. Behind her, the front door gave way. Men flooded in. Gunfire erupted, deafening in the enclosed space. She made it to the bedroom, slammed the door, shoved a dresser in front of it. Leia, where are you? Closet. Maggie wrenched open the closet door. Leia was crouched in the corner, the hands over her ears, tears streaming down her face. Maggie pulled her out, held her. We're okay, I've got you. Something slammed against the bedroom door. Once, twice, the dresser scraped across the floor. Window, Maggie said. We're going out the window. She ran to it, tried to open it, painted shut. She smashed the glass with the butt of the Glock, cleared the shards. Outside was a 10-foot drop to dirt and rocks. I'll go first, then catch you. Mom, trust me. Maggie climbed through, hung from the sill, dropped. Her ankle twisted when she landed, pain shooting up her leg. She gasped, fought through it. Jump! I'll catch you! Leia appeared at the window, hesitated. Behind her, the bedroom door burst open. A man's shape filled the doorway. Jump now, Leia jumped. Maggie caught her, the impact driving them both to the ground. Pain exploded through Maggie's twisted ankle, but she ignored it, scrambled up, pulled Leia behind her. They ran. Into the desert scrub, away from the house, away from the gunfire that still echoed from inside. Maggie's ankles screamed with every step, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Had to get Leia away, had to keep her safe, that was all that mattered. Behind them, someone shouted in Spanish. Footsteps pounding after them. They weren't going to make it. Maggie spun, raised the Glock. The man chasing them was young, maybe 20, with a gun in his hand and murder in his eyes. She aimed just like Hawk taught her. Center mass, biggest target. She squeezed the trigger. The gun kicked in her hand. The man stumbled, looked down at the red bloom spreading across his chest, looked up at her with surprise. Then he fell. Maggie had killed him. She'd actually killed him. Mom, keep running. Leia's voice snapped her back. They ran, again pushing deeper into the scrub. Behind them, more shouts, more pursuers. How many men had Carlos brought? Then rising above the chaos, the most beautiful sound Maggie had ever heard: motorcycles. A lot of them. Coming fast. Briggs and the others had arrived. The gunfire changed pitch, changed direction. Now it was the guerreros who were scrambling, who were caught between the safe house and the approaching Hell's Angels. Maggie pulled Leia behind a large rock, both of them gasping for air. Stay down! Don't move! Don't make a sound! They huddled together, listening to the battle rage. It lasted maybe 5 minutes, but felt like hours. Guns firing, men screaming, engines roaring. Then gradually silence. Maggie? Briggs' voice cutting through the quiet. Maggie, if you can hear me, answer. She stood slowly still, gripping the Glock. We're here, we're okay. Briggs appeared through the scrub tank beside him. Both had blood on their clothes, neither looked hurt. They ran to her, checked her over, checked Leia. Hawk, Maggie asked. Alive. Took a round in the arm, but he'll live. How many did you? 8 guerreros down, 3 in custody, 2 got away in a car heading south. We've got people tracking them. And Carlos? Briggs's face went hard. In the house. He wants to talk to you. Like hell. Maggie, he's dying. Hawk shot him in the gut. He's got maybe 30 minutes, probably less. He wants to say something before he goes. Maggie looked at Leia, who was pale and shaking, but uninjured. Stay with Tank. Don't follow me. Mom, I'll be right back, I promise. She followed Briggs back to the safe house. The front door hung off its hinges. Glass and bullet casings littered the floor. In the living room, surrounded by bikers with guns drawn, Carlos Mendoza sat propped against the wall. Blood pooled around him, dark and spreading. He looked up when Maggie entered. His face was gray, sweat beading on his forehead. You, he said, voice weak but full of venom. Me. You killed my brother. I saved a friend. Your brother was going to kill him. Cisco was following orders, doing what he had to do. So was I. Carlos coughed, blood flecking his lips. 9 years I searched for you, 9 years. And for what? This? You should have let it go. He was my brother, my blood. You don't let that go. Maggie knelt beside him, ignoring the gasps from the bikers around her. She looked into his eyes, saw the same pain she'd carried for 9 years. I understand, she said softly. If someone hurt my daughter, I'd hunt them too. I'd never stop. So I get it. But Carlos, your brother made a choice. He set up Hawk. He pulled a gun. He was going to kill someone I cared about. I couldn't let that happen. So you shot him. So I shot him. Carlos's breathing was getting shallower. My family, they will come for you. This doesn't end with me. Then we'll be ready. You think you can fight the cartel? I think I've got good people on my side, and I think I'm done running. Carlos tried to laugh, but it came out as a wet gurgle. Stupid, you should run. You should take your daughter and run until your legs give out. I tried that for 9 years, didn't work. Then you'll die. Maybe, but not today. Carlos's eyes were glazing over. He had minutes, maybe seconds. Tell Hawk. Tell him Cisco said he was sorry. Before he died, said it wasn't supposed to go down like that. Maggie hadn't known that. In all the chaos, all the blood, she'd never known Cisco's last words. I'll tell him. And tell your daughter. Tell her to be smarter than both of us. Tell her not to waste her life on revenge. I will. Carlos's head dropped forward. His chest rose once more, then went still. Maggie stood, her bad ankle nearly giving out. Briggs caught her arm, steadied her. It's done, he said. Zit. He said his family will come. Let them. We'll be ready. They walked outside. Laya was sitting on Tank's motorcycle, looking smaller than her 9 years. Maggie limped over, pulled her daughter into her arms. Is he dead? Laya asked. Yes. Good. Leia, I know I'm not supposed to say that. I know it's not nice to be glad someone died. But Mom, he wanted to kill us. So yeah, I'm glad he's dead. Maggie couldn't argue with that logic. She was glad too, relieved, exhausted. She'd killed one man today, watched another die. She should feel something, guilt, horror, anything. But all she felt was tired. Hawk appeared from the house, his left arm in a makeshift sling, blood soaking through the bandage. We need to get you two out of here. Cops are on their way. There's going to be questions. What do we tell them? The truth? Mostly. You were being hunted by the cartel. We were protecting you. Self-defense all the way. Will they believe that? They will by the time our lawyer gets done with them. They loaded into vehicles, Maggie and Leia in Briggs's truck again. The safe house was already being cleaned by people who appeared from nowhere, efficient and silent. By the time the police arrived, the evidence would tell the story Hawk wanted them to hear. The drive back to Flagstaff felt surreal. Leia fell asleep against Maggie's shoulder, exhausted from fear and adrenaline. Maggie stroked her hair, marveling that they were both alive, that they'd survived. Her phone buzzed, a text from a number she didn't recognize. This is Officer Martinez. We need you at the station ASAP. There's been a development. Maggie's stomach dropped. What kind of development? The two Guerreros who got away. They didn't head south. They went to your apartment. The place is ransacked. Everything's destroyed. We need you to come identify what's missing. Maggie stared at the text. Her home, the life she'd built, gone. Destroyed by men seeking revenge for something she'd done to protect someone she cared about. Briggs, she said, they hit my apartment. I know. Already got the report. Don't worry about it. You're not going back there. That's my home. Was your home. Now you need something better, something secure. We've got a place in mind. I can't afford. The money from Vegas, it's yours. More than enough for a down payment on a house, something with a yard for Laya. Somewhere the Guerreros can't touch you. Briggs, don't argue. For once in your stubborn life, just accept help. Maggie looked at her daughter sleeping peacefully despite everything that had happened. What kind of life could she give Leia now? Running from one apartment to another, always looking over her shoulder, always afraid, or she could accept the help, accept the money she'd earned saving Hawk's life, build something real, something permanent, something safe. Okay, she said quietly. Okay, I'll take the help. Smart woman. They pulled into a different parking lot, not the hospital, but a small medical clinic on the edge of town. A doctor waited outside, one of Briggs's people apparently. He checked Maggie's ankle, badly sprained but not broken, wrapped it tight, gave her crutches and pain meds. Checked Laya over too, pronounced her physically fine, suggested a therapist for the trauma. She saw things today no kid should see, the doctor said. She's going to need help processing it. I know. And you killed someone today. I know that too. That changes a person. Don't pretend it doesn't. Maggie nodded, took the card he offered for a therapist who specialized in trauma. Another piece of her life that needed fixing, another crack that needed mending. By the time they finished at the clinic, it was nearly 7 in the evening. Laya woke up hungry and cranky. They stopped at a drive-thru, got burgers and fries that Leia devoured in silence. Maggie picked at hers, her stomach too unsettled to eat. "Where are we going?" Leia asked finally. "I don't know yet. Somewhere safe. Can I vote? On where we live?" "Yeah, don't I get a say?" Maggie smiled for the first time in hours. "Yeah, baby, you get a say. I want a house with a yard and a dog. I've always wanted a dog. A dog. A big one that can protect us. I think we have enough protection. But I want a dog anyway. We'll see." They ended up at a hotel on the north side of town. Nothing fancy, but clean and anonymous. Briggs got them 2 adjoining rooms, posted dice outside, promised someone would be watching it all night. Maggie helped Leia into pajamas, tucked her into bed. Her daughter was asleep before Maggie finished pulling the covers up. In her own room, Maggie sat on the edge of the bed and finally let herself fall apart. Quiet tears at first, then sobs that shook her whole body. She'd kept it together all day, stayed strong for Leia, but now the dam broke. A knock at the connecting door. She wiped her face. "Come in." Hawk entered, his arm properly bandaged now, carrying 2 bottles of beer. "Thought you might need this." "I don't drink." "Tonight you do." She took the beer, twisted off the cap, drank half of it in one go. It tasted terrible and perfect. Hawk sat beside her on the bed. They didn't talk, just sat there drinking beer in a cheap hotel room while their lives rearranged themselves around them. "Thank you," Maggie said finally, "for keeping us alive today. That's what family does. We're not family." "Yes, we are. You saved my life 9 years ago. That makes you family forever. And Laya's family, by extension. So yeah, we're family. I killed someone today. Shot him right in the chest." "I know. Briggs told me." "I don't feel guilty. Shouldn't I feel guilty?" "No, you should feel alive, because you are. And so is Leia, and that's all that matters." Maggie finished her beer, set the empty bottle on the nightstand. "What happens now?" "Now you heal. You and Leia both. You find a house, you get that dog she wants, you build a life that doesn't involve running. And the cartel, Carlos said they'd come for me. Let them. They'll find out what happens when you mess with the Hells Angels." "I'm not a Hells Angel." Hawk pulled up his sleeve, showed her his tattoo. Then he looked at her shoulder. "Yes, you are. You've been one of us since the night I marked you. You just forgot for a while." "I didn't forget. I ran." "Same difference." They sat in comfortable silence until Hawk stood. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow we start putting the pieces back together." "Hawk, yeah, I'm glad you're not dead." He smiled. "Me too." He left, closing the connecting door behind him. Maggie lay down fully clothed, staring at the ceiling. Her ankle throbbed, her head pounded, her whole body ached. But she was alive. Leia was alive. And for the first time in 9 years, she wasn't running anymore. She was done running. Whatever came next, she'd face it head on. With the Hells Angels at her back and her daughter by her side, she could face anything. Even her own past, even her own future. She closed her eyes and let sleep take her, knowing that Dice was outside watching, knowing that Hawk was in the next room, knowing that for once in her life, she wasn't alone. Morning came too fast. Maggie woke to sunlight cutting through cheap curtains and Leia standing beside her bed, already dressed, holding her sketchbook. "Mom, I drew it. The whole thing from yesterday." Maggie sat up, wincing as her ankle reminded her it existed. "Drew what, baby?" "Everything. The safe house, the guns, the man chasing us." Leia opened the sketchbook, showed her mother pages filled with images that no 9-year-old should be able to draw. The detail was disturbing, every moment captured in pencil and crayon, from the shattered windows to the blood on the floor. "Leia, the doctor said I need to process it. This is how I process. I draw what scares me until it doesn't scare me anymore." Maggie pulled her daughter onto the bed, held her tight. "When did you get so smart?" "I told you, I've always been smart. You just worry too much to notice." A knock on the door. Hawk's voice. "You two decent, Briggs is here. We need to talk." "Give us 5 minutes." Maggie helped Leia pack up her drawings, tried to make herself presentable with hotel soap in yesterday's clothes. Her reflection in the bathroom mirror showed someone she barely recognized. Hair, wild eyes shadowed a woman who'd killed a man less than 24 hours ago. She touched her shoulder where the tattoo sat hidden beneath her scrubs. The mark that had started all of this. The mark that had saved them. They opened the connecting door. Hawk sat on his bed arms still in the sling. Briggs stood by the window with Tank and Reaper. Snake was missing. "Where's Snake?" Maggie asked. "Hospital," Briggs said. "Took a round in the leg during the firefight. He'll be fine, probably out tomorrow." "I should visit him." "You should stay out of sight until we're sure the coast is clear." Briggs pulled out his phone and showed her surveillance photos. These were taken at the Phoenix airport this morning. 3 men, all known Sinaloa cartel enforcers. They flew in at 6 a.m. Maggie's blood went cold. Carlos wasn't lying. His family is coming. His uncle specifically, Vicente Mendoza. He's high up in the organization, and he's not happy about his nephew dying in some backwater Arizona town. "How do you know he's after me?" "Because he posted your hospital ID photo on 3 different cartel message boards with a $50,000 bounty on your head." The room spun. Maggie grabbed the doorframe for support. 50,000, dead or alive, with a bonus if you're delivered alive so he can handle you personally. Leia's hand found Maggie's. "What does that mean?" "It means a lot of bad people are going to be looking for your mom." "Then we hide better." "Or we end it," Hawk said. All eyes turned to him. "Vicente wants revenge for his nephew." "Fine. Let's give him a target, but not Maggie. Me." "Absolutely not," Maggie said. "You saved my life 9 years ago. Let me return the favor." "By getting yourself killed, that's not a favor, that's stupidity." "I'm not planning on dying. I'm planning on drawing Vicente out so we can deal with him before he gets anywhere near you or Leia." Briggs crossed his arms. "Explain." "We leak information that I'm the one who killed Carlos. Not Maggie, me. That I've been protecting her all along, that I'm the real target. Vicente comes after me. We're ready for him, and we put him down before this escalates. And when he finds out you're lying, we make sure he doesn't live long enough to figure it out." Maggie shook her head. "No, I won't let you do this. I won't let you risk your life because of my choices. It's not up to you." "The hell it isn't." They glared at each other across the hotel room, neither willing to back down. Leia tugged on Maggie's hand. "Mom, if Hawk wants to help, maybe we should let him. You don't understand what he's offering to do. I understand that bad men want to hurt us, and I understand that Hawk is trying to stop them. Isn't that what family does?" "She's got a point," Tank said. "The kid's smarter than all of us." Briggs rubbed his knee. "If we do this, we do it right. No cowboy moves. We plan every detail. Vicente doesn't sneeze without us knowing about it." "Agreed," Hawk said. "And Maggie and Leia go somewhere secure, somewhere not even we know about. That way, if this goes sideways, Vicente can't torture the information out of us." Maggie wanted to protest, wanted to stay and fight, but Leia's hand in hers stopped her. Her daughter's safety came first. Always. "Where is she?" asked. "I've got a cabin in Montana, middle of nowhere, off the grid. Only one person knows about it, my sister. She'll take you there, stay with you until this is over." "How long?" "Week, maybe 2. Depends how fast we can locate Vicente and neutralize him." "Neutralize?" Maggie laughed bitterly. "You mean kill?" "I mean make sure he's never a threat to you again." Leia spoke up. "Do they have dogs in Montana?" Everyone turned to look at her. She shrugged. "You said I could get a dog. If we're going to Montana for a week, maybe we could look at dogs." Despite everything, Maggie smiled. "Yeah, baby, we can look at dogs. Can it be a big one?" "We'll see." Briggs made calls while Maggie and Leia packed what little they had. The plan came together fast, too fast maybe, but they didn't have time for slow. Vicente was already in Arizona. Every hour they waited was an hour he got closer. A woman arrived at the hotel at noon. Mid-40s, short hair, leather jacket, eyes that missed nothing. "I'm Sarah, Briggs's sister. You must be Maggie. Thank you for doing this. Family takes care of family. Let's move." They loaded into Sarah's SUV, windows tinted dark. Leia sat in the back, clutching her sketchbook, quiet now, processing. Maggie watched Flagstaff disappear in the side mirror, wondering if she'd ever see it again. "You're doing the right thing," Sarah said, "getting her away from this mess." "Am I? Or am I just running again?" "There's a difference between running scared and making a strategic retreat. You're doing the second one. Doesn't feel different. It will." When this is over and you're both safe, it'll feel different. They drove for hours, stopping only for gas and bathroom breaks. Leia fell asleep somewhere in southern Montana, her head against the window drawings scattered across her lap. Maggie stared at them at the violence her daughter had witnessed and captured on paper. She's resilient, Sarah said, noticing Maggie's gaze. Kids are tougher than we give them credit for. She shouldn't have to be tough. She should be worrying about homework and friends, not men with guns. No, she shouldn't, but she is, and you're keeping her alive. That's all that matters right now. They reached the cabin as the sun set. It was exactly what Briggs had promised: remote, hidden, no neighbors for miles. Solar panels on the roof, a well for water, enough supplies to last months if necessary. Inside was sparse but functional. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room with a wood stove. Sarah showed them where everything was, how the generator worked, where the weapons were hidden. You know how to shoot now? Sarah asked. I learned yesterday. Crash course. Good, because if someone finds you up here, I need you to be able to defend yourself and Leia until help arrives. How fast can help arrive? Helicopter from Briggs's people, 2 hours. Local police 4, maybe 5 if the weather's bad. Maggie looked out the window at the endless trees. So we're on our own. You're together, that's better than alone. Sarah stayed that night, cooked them dinner, made sure they were settled. In the morning, she left, promising to check in daily by satellite phone, since cell service didn't reach this far into the wilderness. And then it was just Maggie and Leia in a cabin in Montana waiting for word that it was safe to come home. The first day crawled. Leia drew more pictures. Maggie paced, checked the weapons, looked out the windows at nothing but trees and sky. The satellite phone rang at 8 p.m. It's Briggs. We've located Vicente. He's staying at a compound outside Phoenix, heavily guarded. We're watching, waiting for an opening. How long? Could be tomorrow, could be a week. He's careful. And Hawk, playing his part perfectly. We leaked the story that he killed Carlos. Vicente took the bait. He's asking around about Hawk's location. So Hawk's in danger. Hawk's always in danger. It's kind of his thing. Briggs, he knows what he's doing. Trust him. I'm trying. Try harder. I'll call tomorrow, same time. He hung up. Maggie set down the phone, found Leia watching her from the couch. They're going to be okay, Leia said. Hawk and the others. They're tough. How do you know? Because they have to be. We need them to be. Day 2 was worse. The waiting gnawed at Maggie's sanity. She cleaned weapons she'd already cleaned, checked locks she'd already checked, cooked food neither of them was hungry for. Leia spent the day exploring outside, staying close to the cabin like Sarah had instructed. She found animal tracks, identified them from a nature book Sarah had left. Bear, deer, something that might have been a wolf. We should stay here forever, Leia said at lunch. It's peaceful. You'd get bored. No, I wouldn't. I'd draw and explore and learn about animals. And we'd get that dog, a big one that could protect us from bears. We're not staying forever. But we could. Couldn't we just disappear? Let Hawk and the others handle Vicente. Start over up here where nobody knows us. Maggie looked at her daughter, saw the hope in her eyes, the desire for a normal life, a safe life. You want to hide forever. I want to stop being scared. Me too, baby. Me too. Briggs called that night with an update. We've got a problem. Vicente made copies of your photo, distributed them to every cartel contact from here to California. You've got bounty hunters looking for you now, not just Vicente's people. How many? Conservatively 50, maybe more. Maggie's legs gave out. She sat hard on the cabin floor. 50 people hunting me, which is why you stay exactly where you are. That cabin is off every grid. Nobody knows about it except me, Sarah, and now you. What about Hawk's plan? Still in play, but it's taking longer than we hoped. Vicente's paranoid. Won't leave the compound, won't meet with anyone face to face. We're working on a way to draw him out. Work faster. We're trying. How's Leia? Maggie looked at her daughter curled up in a chair reading about wolves. She wants a dog. When this is over, I'll buy her a whole damn kennel. Day 3 brought snow. Not a lot, just enough to dust the ground and make everything look clean and new. Leia went outside, made a snowman with rocks for eyes and sticks for arms. Maggie watched from the window, gun within reach, scanning the trees for threats that never came. The satellite phone rang at noon instead of 8. Maggie's heart jumped. Briggs. We got him. Hawk's voice rough but triumphant. Vicente's dead. It's over. Maggie's knees buckled again. She slid down the wall phone, pressed to her ear. How? He came after me, finally got tired of waiting, decided to handle it himself. Walked right into our trap. Briggs put him down. Clean shot. He didn't suffer. And his people, scattered. Without Vicente, there's no organization, no leadership. The bounty's off. The cartel's moved on. You're safe, Maggie. You and Leia both. Maggie couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. 9 years of running, of fear, of looking over her shoulder. And it was over. Just like that. One phone call, and it was over. Maggie, you still there? I'm here. I don't know what to say. Say you're coming home. Say you're ready to stop hiding and start living. I'm coming home. The words felt foreign, impossible. When Sarah's already on her way to get you, should be there in 3 hours. We'll have a place ready for you when you get back. A real place. Safe, secure, yours. The money from Vegas is waiting in an account with your name on it, enough for a down payment and then some. Maggie, you saved my life. That money was always yours. Time you started believing that. She hung up, walked outside where Leia was adding more snow to her snowman. Baby, we're going home. Already, but we just got here. It's over. The bad men aren't looking for us anymore. Leia turned snowflakes in her hair, hope dawning on her face. Really, we're really safe. Really. And we can get a dog. Yes, a big one. The biggest one we can find. Leia launched herself at Maggie, nearly knocking them both over. They held each other in the snow, laughing and crying at the same time, 9 years of fear finally releasing its grip. Sarah arrived exactly 3 hours later. The drive back to Arizona felt different than the drive up. Lighter, like they were moving towards something instead of running away. They reached Flagstaff at midnight. Briggs met them at a house on the north side of town. Not an apartment, a real house with a yard and a garage and a front porch. Hawk stood on that porch, arm out of the sling, now grinning like a fool. Welcome home, he said. Maggie got out of the SUV slowly, not quite believing this was real. This is the place. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, fenced yard. It's yours if you want it. We've got first month's rent covered, utilities, set up furniture being delivered tomorrow. I can't afford. Yes, you can. The Vegas money, remember. Stop fighting this, Maggie. Let us help. Let us make up for 9 years of being wrong about you. Leia ran past them into the house, her voice echoing from inside. Mom, there's a fireplace, and the kitchen is huge, and my room has a window seat. Maggie looked at Hawk, at Briggs, at these men who'd hunted her, and now were giving her a home. Why are you doing this? Because you're family, Briggs said simply, and family takes care of each other. Should have done it 9 years ago. Doing it now. Tank appeared from around the side of the house. Backyard secure, fences solid, good space for a dog. Everyone keeps talking about this dog, Reaper added, emerging from the house. Kid's very insistent about the dog. She wants protection, Maggie said. She's got us, but if a dog makes her feel safer, then she gets a dog. They showed Maggie through the house. It was perfect, exactly what she would have chosen if she'd had the courage to dream that big. Leia was already claiming the bigger bedroom, the one with the window seat and built-in bookshelves. Mom, can I paint it whatever color I want? Sure, baby, it's your room. I want purple, like really purple. Is that okay? Completely okay. Maggie found Hawk in the kitchen making coffee like he owned the place. You shouldn't have done all this. Yeah, I should have. 9 years too late, but better late than never. I don't know how to repay you. You already did. That night in the warehouse. That was repayment enough for several lifetimes. Maggie leaned against the counter, suddenly exhausted. What happens now? We just live here, pretend the last 9 years didn't happen. No, we acknowledge the last 9 years happened. We learn from them, and then we move forward, together. I don't know how to not be alone anymore. Then learn. We'll help you. That's what family does. Leia appeared in the doorway holding her sketchbook. Hawk, can you help me draw a motorcycle? I can't get the wheels right. Sure, kid. Let's see what you've got. They sat at the kitchen table, Hawk teaching Leia how to draw proper circles for wheels, while Maggie watched. This man who'd saved her in return. This little girl who'd seen too much but remained somehow hopeful. This house that represented a future she'd never let herself imagine. Briggs found her standing there. You good? I don't know. Ask me in a week when this all feels real. It's real. This is your life now. Safe, stable, normal. I don't know what normal feels like anymore. You'll figure it out. And if you don't, we'll be here to help. The others left around 2 in the morning. Promises to check in tomorrow, to help with furniture, to take Laya to look at dogs at the shelter. Maggie locked the door behind them, checked it twice, then checked it again. Mom, Leia stood in the hallway in her pajamas. You can stop checking. We're safe now. I know. Do you really? Maggie thought about it. About Vicente dead in Phoenix. About Carlos bleeding out in that safe house. About the Guerreros scattered and broken. About the Hell's Angels standing guard. Yeah, she said finally. Yeah, I think I do. They went to their separate bedrooms, Leia to hers with the window seat, Maggie to hers with the view of the backyard. She lay in an actual bed in an actual house that was actually hers and tried to remember the last time she'd felt this kind of peace. She couldn't. Maybe she never had. Her phone buzzed, a text from Hawk. Sleep well, you earned it. She texted back, thank you for everything. That's what family does. There was that word again, family. She'd spent 9 years without one, just her and Laya against the world. Now she had a whole crew of leather-wearing, motorcycle-riding family members who'd kill anyone who threatened her. It was strange. It was overwhelming. It was perfect. She closed her eyes and slept without nightmares for the first time in 9 years. Morning came soft and bright. Maggie woke to the smell of coffee and found Hawk in her kitchen again, making breakfast like it was his job. You need to stop breaking into my house, she said. I didn't break in. Leia let me in. Kids up early, already made a list of dog names. Of course she did. They sat at the table with scrambled eggs and toast, the three of them, like this was normal. Like this had always been their life. There's a shelter across town, Hawk said. Opens at 10. Thought we could go look, if you're ready. For a dog. For all of it, the house, the deed, the life you should have had 9 years ago. Maggie looked at Leia, who was practically vibrating with excitement. Looked at Hawk, who'd become something more than the man she'd saved. He'd become the family she'd chosen. Looked around at this house, this gift, this second chance. Yeah, she said, I'm ready. They found a German Shepherd mix at the shelter, 3 years old, protective and gentle. Leia named him Shadow. He rode home in the back seat next to her, his head on her lap, like he'd always been theirs. That night, Maggie stood on her front porch, watching Leia play with Shadow in the fenced yard. The tattoo on her shoulder burned slightly, the way it sometimes did when she thought about that night in Vegas. But it didn't hurt anymore. It felt like what it was, a mark of honor, a badge of courage, proof that she'd done something that mattered. Briggs pulled up on his motorcycle tank and Reaper behind him. Thought we'd check in, see how you're settling. Good, we're settling good. The kid got her dog, I see. The kid got everything she asked for. Good, she deserves it, you both do. They stood together on the porch, watching Leia and Shadow play as the sun set over Flagstaff. 9 years ago, Maggie had pulled a trigger to save a life, had run for her freedom, had built a life from nothing while looking over her shoulder every single day. Now she was home. Not the home she'd left in Vegas, but something better, something earned, something real. She touched her shoulder where the skull with wings sat hidden beneath her shirt, the mark that had condemned her and saved her in equal measure. Thank you, she said to Briggs, to Hawk, to all of them, for giving me my life back. You never lost it, Briggs said. You just misplaced it for a while. Now you found it again. And standing there on the porch of a house she owned, watching her daughter play with the boy she'd always wanted, surrounded by the family she'd never expected to have, Maggie finally understood what Leia had meant in the cabin. She wasn't scared anymore, and she would never run again.